Welcome back.
Thank you. Okay, now I'm really thirsty. Can I have the seltzer if you don't mind?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's over yours. She's on board. So much he said.
Thanks so much.
I think it's 40 here.
Okay, Rabotai. Gemara shiur. Wow. It's a little bit salty. It's good. Gemara shiur. Yeah. Pesachim. Moving onward.
People like it. Huh?
Okay, so the goal for today is an interesting piece of gemara that we started on last week. Mahloket. Kind of complicated, a little bit complicated, not gonna lie. And then we are going to try to figure out what the halakha l'maaseh is. Whether that's in 1 day or 2 days, I don't know. Let's find out. Okay, so I circled it in red. The Gemara said, if you remember last time, we've been talking about Rav Hista. Rav Hista said that if you are eating, let's say this kibbeh over here, kubba, whatever you call it,
Tzitzot.
Which is she'akol.
Kefter.
Kiftes. You know kiftes? You call meatballs kiftes?
Kefter.
And then you go, because it's she'akol, and then you go home and you want to have more. You have to make a new beracha? We said yes. She'akol, you have to. Fruit, you have to, what Rav Hista said. But Rav Hista said, if something is a mizonot, or a hamotzi, or it's a mahloket, whether 7 fruits of Israel are applied in this as well, then you don't have to make a new beracha because you take your meal with you. Remember this?
Yeah.
So we have mahloket. Let's see. The Gemara says in the red box, Rav Hista said of his own opinion, this that we said, when you change the place of your eating, you have to make a new beracha. Lo amran ela b'devarim she'en te'onim beracha le'acharehen bin koman. It's a long phrase. What does it mean? The only food that you have to make a new beracha when you move is a food that doesn't require the blessing in its place. What requires the blessing in its place? Hamotzi. Right? It's the mahloket if gefen and mizonot has also mahloket, but definitely hamotzi. But if you have chocolate or she'akol or cucumbers or whatever, you don't have to make a beracha wherever. You can make a beracha anywhere you want for that. And so therefore, by the same token, you can go home if you want, and you have to make a new beracha. You have to make a new beracha. Abal. If you eat something that requires a blessing in its place, like bread, let's say, and tzarich lebarech, you don't have to make a new blessing when you go on to switch places and go home. If you want to keep eating, if you finished eating, you have to come back and make a blessing, right? What's the reason for Rav Hista? You're going back to your first seudah. When you have bread, since there's a requirement to make beracha b'kat hamazon in the place where you had the bread, so that's sitting over your head like a dark cloud, this chiyuv, this obligation to bless, and you take it with you to the next place. So you can take your seudah, your bread seudah, with you home. And so why should I make a new beracha? I'm in the same seudah. But since if I have this, let's say this kibbeh over here, I don't have to make a bread and fashot here. I can make it anywhere I want. So when I go, I don't take this with me. I start a new kibbeh at home. It's a brand new kibbeh meal if I go home. That's the logic of Rav Hista. Okay.
So you have to make a new bracha.
On she'akol.
Yeah.
This is the opinion of Rav Hista. Rav Sheshet Amar. Rav Sheshet argues, and he says, I don't care what you're eating. When you switch places, you have to make a new bracha. This is the opinion of Rav Sheshet. But I'm having hamotzi. I'm having bread. I want to go have bread. I want to leave. I want to go eat bread somewhere else. Rav Sheshet will say, you have to make a new hamotzi. Rav Hista would say, you don't have to make a new hamotzi. What if I want to come here, I'm eating bread, I want to go join my buddies to watch the fireworks on July 4th. I'll come back in like 45 minutes and I want to eat more bread. What would our Chisda would hold? Your meal is on your head. You take your meal with you to the fireworks. You take your meal with you back.
What if something came up and you don't remember? Like you're eating bread and after like something comes up, you go somewhere, and then you come back like 2 hours later.
You're like, yeah, 2 hours. So the question would be,
We're still hungry.
that's why I said 45 minutes. Okay,
We're still
so,
hungry.
right. So if you're full, then it's forever, right? 72 minutes is only if you're not full. As long as you have Kedes Bi'ah, you're okay. But if it's 72 minutes, it's only if you're not full. That's why I said 45 minutes. So if I go watch the fireworks and come back, let's say in 45 minutes, according to the Chisda, I keep eating.
Yeah.
According to Rav Sheshet, make a new beracha. Rav Sheshet says all the food is the same. Rav Chisda says there's a difference in the food.
You could argue maybe yes, maybe no, because he says if you go to a different place, he never says if you come to your own place.
So let's see.
So you can argue that maybe it means this.
So I'm going to show you what he means from the next question. Now there's a little bit complicated, so bear with me. Metive, we're sort of like a third of the way down in this red box. Metive, we have a question. This is the Beraita. Bene Habura usually means yeshiva guys, kollel guys. Haberim are like rabbis. But it could be anybody. Bene Habura, let's say a group of people. Shayu mesubin l'shtot. They're reclining to drink, which means a seudah. It doesn't only mean lav dafka to drink. It means they're going to eat. Ve'akru raglehen, and they uprooted their feet. Very weird words, which means they got up. That's it, to leave. Why would you have to say that? Akru raglehen, they uprooted their legs. The krat hatan, or the krat kala. Why did they get up? To greet a hatan, because there's a bride, there's a wedding procession going down the street. There's big mitzvah to be misamech hatan and kala. So they hear the tabaki is in the street, and they want to go join the wedding.
Yeah, I think Akru Raglaim, they use the term because he wants to tell you they're no longer possessing the spot that they've been.
Very strong words.
Yeah.
It almost seems like you shouldn't get up in your meal. When you get up, you're uprooting your legs. You should stay in this. Why would you get up? You're eating that. That's what it seems like. And also, it gives you a very detailed example. Why doesn't it just say they got up for whatever the reason is, the fireworks, July 4th? No, they got up to greet a hatan or a kala.
Something just came up randomly saying.
Keshehen yotzein, says the Beraita, when they leave before greeting the hatan and the kala, en teoni beracha lemafreya, they don't have to make a beracha on what they already ate. Guys, there's a wedding. Oh, Birkat Hamazon. We just had a sandwich. No, the wedding's good. Let's go. Forget Birkat Hamazon. Just go to the wedding. Keshen hozrin, when they come back and they want to eat another sandwich, en teoni beracha lechatehila. You don't have to make a new beracha on the second sandwich that you want to eat.
But who says that? Rav Sheshet?
No, this is a question we're bringing from a separate Beraita. So it's, who is this like? Who is this a question against?
First one.
So against Rav Chisda. Rav Chisda, you said that if someone's eating,
like it's something.
Rav Sheshet, you said if you get up, you have to make. If you get up, you don't have to make a new beracha if it's hamotzi. Now it says akru raglehen. They uprooted their legs. What does that mean? It means they were eating bread. If they use such a strong lashon, such a strong word, akru raglehen, they uprooted their legs, it means they were chained to this table with bread. That's what it means. That's the logic of the gemara. Rashbam explains. Which means that they're eating bread. They would saw the tabaki is in the street and the hatan and the kala.
No, because it seems like they did what Rav Chisda said.
No.
They came back, they didn't say beracha. They left, they didn't say beracha. They came back, they didn't say beracha.
Oh, hold on, because we're not done with beraita yet. So hold on. So they don't have to make a new beracha, but the beraita adds a clause. This halacha that they can just go join the wedding and don't make any berachot is dependent on one thing. What are we talking about? When they left behind at the table the old man,
somebody stayed,
or someone sick who couldn't go to the wedding. I'm not getting up to the dance of the wedding. I'll stay here. I'll stay with the table.
Somebody maintained the
Oh, that's
decorum.
fine then.
of the seudah.
He's watching the table.
He's maintaining a decorum. There's still a seudah going on.
There's
The
still a
seudah
seudah.
is not.
Someone's watching it.
Yes.
They didn't leave anybody behind. The whole habura went to join the wedding in the street. The table's empty. There's nobody here at the table anymore. All the food's there, but nobody's there anymore.
חייבים ברכה.
When they leave, before you go to the wedding, say Birkat Hamazon. When you come back, you have to make a new beracha hamotzi on the next sandwich that you eat. The wedding has interrupted your meal. Says the Gemara. You said akru raglehen. They uprooted their feet, which is very strong words. It must be you're talking about bread. You would never use such language. I'm eating chocolate and I uprooted myself from the chocolate. You would never say that.
It's an established meal.
It's an established meal, which is bread. And the Beraita says, you're only allowed to go to the wedding with no blessings if there's a sick or old person you left behind. If you didn't leave an old man or a sick person behind, on bread, you have to make the beracha b'kat hamazon. It's a question of Hista. Again, the Mahalki was the Hista held. Depends what you eat. If you have peppers, if you have cucumbers, chocolate, Twizzlers, drinks, when you go, you have to make a new beracha. But if you have hamotzi, that follows you everywhere you go. You will not make a new beracha. That's what Rabbi Hista said. Rabbi Sheshet says, I don't differentiate foods. Whatever you do, you leave, you broke your seudah, finished. Proof of the Mishnah, we said straight out, if the boys want to join the wedding, and you don't leave anyone behind to hold the meal for you, then you're breaking the meal. You got a bench. Question on Rabbi Hista. So there's an interesting Tosafot. And I circled 2 red boxes for you in Tosafot. What does it mean when it says, really? Like Tosafot, the background of Tosafot is saying, really? I have to make Birkat Hamazon, and then I have to make Hamotzi when I come back for more? I find it hard to believe this Tosafot saying this. Mashma, says Tosafot, Mashma, it seems that it's not enough to just make Hamotzi when I come back. Why should I have to make Birkat Hamazon? If I'm in a meal and I go wandering around the block, it's called Hesech Hadat. Just come back, make Hamotzi if you want more food, because you broke your meal. Why do I have to make a new Birkat Hamazon?
You still sober.
But you want to keep eating.
Yeah.
So just make a new beracha hamotzi.
That's what I'm saying.
There's no
reason.
Why should I make a right? Oh, right. And he says, and I skipped a few lines. Look at the second box. He says, when the Gemara here says you have to make Birkat Hamazon, the mafreya means retroactive in Aramaic usually, but it means on the food you already ate. It's only a gezerah. We're afraid you're going to go there and spend a lot more time than you planned on at this wedding. Like Yanid said. And when you finish the second box, and when you finish the wedding, it's going to be past the time. It's going to be past 72 minutes. You're not going to be hungry. You're going to lose Birkat Hamazon. So we're afraid. Even if you say, no, I'm going for 5 minutes.
Says no, bless, because you never know.
You don't know. We don't trust it. Actually, you come back hungry. Then you can't do it anymore. Says Tosafot. However, let's say you didn't listen to the gezerah and you didn't bench. You ran to the wedding with your buddies. When I come back, what do you want me to do? Make Birkat Hamazon and then Hamotzi? Can't be. Can't be, says Tosafot.
Just don't Hamotzi.
When the Gemara says you have to do Birkat Hamazon, it means before you go.
Yeah.
But if you violated that when you come back, we're not going to start adding Birkat Hamazon and then Hamotzi a second later. No. When you come back, just do the Hamotzi. You already lost the Birkat Hamazon. Just do the Hamotzi. Okay. You should know. If you always need that Birkat Hamazon, if you really need a Birkat Hamazon, and even if you left and you came back from the wedding, make Birkat Hamazon, why do you have to tell me that I have to make Hamotzi? Obviously, I have to make hamotzi. I just make katamazon. Why would I think I don't have to make hamotzi? I'm going to eat without blessing. Must be the gemara is not literal.
Must be that you don't have to do.
We want you to, but if you missed it, make the hamotzi. So the gemara is not saying you have to do this and this. It's saying do this, and if you missed this, do that. That's what the Safar is saying. Okay. The gemara goes further. So we had a question on Rab Hista. How would Rab Hista explain this beraita? Rab Hista holds if you had bread and you change your place, just keep going. How would he explain this? Keep going only applies if you have an old man at the table. Rab Hista never said anything about an old man.
We answered, we said it for too long. 70 minutes.
But Rab Hista doesn't differentiate any of this.
It just says you had bread, you change location.
You're good.
So what I said is you didn't really change your location. You got up and left.
You got up and left. Rab Hista holds when you want to eat
and you
more,
came back to the same location.
just eat. According to Rab Hista,
You
just
have to
eat.
make another look.
According to Rab Hista, you don't have to. According to Rab
If we're
Sheshet,
at shul and we make a mukti and Shabbat
we go pray.
and we leave to go home.
You used to go home, and you want to have more hamotzi, and you didn't bench.
Right.
According to Rab Hista, don't make a new hamotzi.
You can continue.
According to Rab
I
Sheshet,
mean, that's a good example, very practical.
very
We
practical.
did.
According to Rab Sheshet, you do have to. We have to figure out who the halacha follows. But the question is, Rab Hista, he never differentiated. Well, if there's an old man at the table, then you don't have to. But if there's no old,
That would be
who brought any of this in?
relevant for Herod.
Right. So it says the Gemara, Kashiyad Rab Hista, Amar Rab Rahman. Want to hear the answer?
Yeah, no, I was thinking perhaps because here they perhaps Rav Chizda talks about you get up from one place, you go to another place, you sit down and eat. Here there was an interruption. They went to see the Chatan de Kala.
But
They
just
were
the walking
busy.
is interruption. It's the same thing. I walked 4 blocks. So what's the difference?
Okay, so let's see what
Let's see what the answer.
Amar Rav
Amar Rav Rahman bar Yitzhak. Rav Rahman bar Yitzhak says, and now we're turning to page 45 on the bottom. Man tana akirot. Who made up this whole thing about if you get up and you go back and there's people at the wedding? Where did this all come from? Rabbi Yehuda. It's only Rabbi Yehuda, and I don't hold like Rabbi Yehuda. How do I know this? I could prove it to you. The Tanya, we have another beraita that says as follows. Habirim she'ayu b'subin. You have a bunch of friends who are eating. They're almost exactly the same. And they uprooted their legs to go to the Bet Knesset. This time it's not a wedding. They went to shul. Or the Bet Midrash. They went to the shiur. Same thing. Don't make a blessing. Just go to shul. Amar Rabbi Yehuda says, hold on, same clause. What are we talking about? If you left someone behind, then you don't have to make a blessing. If you didn't leave anyone behind and you just went to shul, or you were eating alone and you just went to shul, you gotta make bekat hamazon before you go.
It's almost like they're saying, like, at least somebody's going to be.
Someone's gonna hold the table.
Like, and the only relevant thing that I could think of is that if somebody's there or not there, is that they'll take care of the bekat hamazon for that place. I don't know what else is relevant. Like,
I think it's more like the seudah is still alive,
Right,
so to speak.
right. Someone's keeping.
There hasn't been a there hasn't been a completion of an action.
Now, let's say we see the said situation that is set up here. So we sit, this table, 3 people eating bread, there 3, whatever, then there is 10.
Yeah.
And then you want to make bekat hamazon. That qualifies.
Zimun. That's
Right?
massive. That's a massive discussion, Habibi Mordechai.
We
The
eat
poskim,
all together.
if we're all together, there's a classic question they ask about the yeshiva. We used to ask this in the yeshiva all the time. It's a big question. If we really have all, I think, seudah shlichit in this Bet Knesset, we all have the da'at. We're together.
No, I'm talking the Fatina, they all got meeting.
Yeah, then for sure. But in a wedding, it's not so pashut. Every table has its own situation. I come when I come. I go when I go. Over here, yes, zimun. I don't think
After the session is over, they all go to eat. They eat all the same.
it's a big even yeshiva. It's a big question they ask in a yeshiva.
So you say that's what it is. So obviously, some of them,
Go.
99% of the room left, with one person stayed. And they just went dancing or then
And when they come back,
they come back, they still have the money to pay.
yeah, that's what the halakha would be.
No,
According to this. If this is the halakha l'maaseh. And it seems like it is.
But I don't understand this class. We have a question on Rav.
We have a question on Chisda. What do you do about
How do we explain it? We say, yeah, because Rabbi Yehuda says that, and we don't know it like Rabbi Yehuda, and then you have to assume that then there's
right, so good. So let's do this. Let's open this up. So the Chisda would say this whole clause about people at the table, old man, this whole thing, I don't hold like that. This is Rabbi Yehuda's invention. And the proof is we have another B'raita. The second B'raita says, Habirim she'eyu musuvin, it's the Rabbanan, Tanakama. Nothing about friends at a table. Rabbi Yehuda says, Amar Rabbi Yehuda, no, we're only talking about one thing. Only if left someone behind. And Huzrin, I don't hold like Rabbi Yehuda. That's Rabbi Yehuda's invention. This first B'raita that you quoted me on the previous page about old man at the
based
table.
on Rabbi Yehuda's
Rabbi Yehuda, I don't hold like Rabbi Yehuda. I hold like the Rabbanan, the Tanakama, the first part of the B'raita, what he wants. This would be Rabbi Hizda's answer, and Rabbi Hizda would tell you, I don't hold this whole old man thing. I don't hold the whole sick person thing. I don't hold about holding a table. Rabbi Hizda says, I hold, if you had bread, your table is held. It goes with you. Rabbi Sheshet, you can hold the table thing. Rabbi Sheshet would hold.
So I guess his teretz is, or his explanation is that there is no machloket. The only difference that Rabbi Yehuda needs something to trigger the meal to continue, means somebody stay, and I don't know like that.
I don't like that.
And other than that, we're the same.
Now, look at the words of Rabbi Yehuda. Does Rabbi Yehuda say he's arguing on the Tanakama, on the rabbis? Or is he explaining the rabbis?
He's explaining.
Yeah.
Rabbi Yehuda was a Tana or Amora?
Rabbi Yehuda ben Betera, this Rabbi Yehuda was a Tana, I believe. So, Itai says he was explaining why, because of Lashon. But I made everyone, what are we talking about? He's clarifying the Rabbanan. What kind of an answer? Is it his opinion? Would he use those words? I'm asking you, Itai. I'm asking.
No,
Because
if
if Rabbi Yehuda is just explaining the Rabbanan, Rabbi Hizda has no answer. This is a proof for Rabbi Sheshet. The old man thing is a real thing. If Rabbi Yehuda is arguing on the Rabbanan, Rabbi Hizda says, I don't hold like the old man thing, Rabbi Yehuda. I hold like the Tanakama. There's a Rashbam here. I didn't put it in red. Who's going to find it? Who's going to find it first? Here. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, it's the Rashbam. If you look at in the inner column, not Rashi, Rashbam. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Bameh Devim Amonim. You see, I don't know if you can follow. Michlal de Rabbanan Piligi Aleha. Must be the rabbis, the first part, argue with him. Beresha, in the beginning of the B'raita. The Afagav de Lehinu Sham Miksad Achrenim. You don't hold like any of this. Why? Ita, you see it?
Yes.
The Amar Rabbi Yohanan be'Eruvin. If you look in Eruvin, Perek Halon, Kol Makom she'amar Rabbi Yehuda b'meh devarim amorim la'alo. He's arguing. He's not explaining. That's the way he spoke. Ematai befaresh devrei hachamim ba. When he says ematai, sometimes he says ematai. When do we say this? That's explaining.
Explanation.
B'meh devarim amorim, arguing. Only Rabbi Yehuda. That's the way he spoke. And so therefore, the Chisda would say, he's arguing because he's a very and therefore I don't hold like him. I hold like the rabbis. If he's explaining the rabbis. There is no answer. Okay. This is the Rashbam's Pshat.
Even if you were saying that he was explaining different opinions on how to explain it.
Yeah, but you have over here a Tanah that's explaining it very strong. Hard to get out of that. It's a very tough one. Now, if you look, I skipped it.
So what's the hierarchy? The rabbis were the Amoraim. So they're explaining the Amoraim. So the question is on Rabbi Hizda is like, supposedly, are you saying things that are not in line with Amoraim? And he says,
Rabbi Hizda is a little bit weaker than the Mishnah. Yeah. It's the same people, but it's not chosen to be part of the Mishnah.
I don't know
It's Tanaim or
Tanaim.
Tanaim.
how can it be he doesn't hold like a baraita? It doesn't make sense.
So he would hold, if he's saying the baraita is a mahloket, I hold like the first part. So Rabbi Yehuda, is he explaining the first part and says, hey,
We're saying he's
this law is only if you have an old man. Is that his opinion or his explanation? Understand? Now, I skip.
In the hierarchy of authority, is there like absolute rules of you have to get deference to?
A Tana wins.
So, I mean,
Sometimes they say Rabbi Akiba has the power, but Tana, there's very, very
Tana
rare
wins.
exceptions. A Tana
But they
bita
came
Amora.
after them.
A Tana bita Amora. Amora came after the Tana.
Oh, that way.
Yeah. Amorim are the rabbis of the Gemara. Rabbeinu, Ravashi, Rav, Shmuel, Abaye, Rabba. These are all Amorim. They can't beat a Tana. Tanaim, Rabbi Akiba. Rabbi Akiba was a Tana. Rabbi Akiba, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Meir, the people in the Mishnah. Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda, Ba'alanet. Rabbi Yehuda,
Rabbi Meir Bar.
Rabbi Yehuda, what's the one who wrote the Mishnah? Hanasi. He was the Tana. Okay. Now, I skipped a few lines here. If you want to do it later, I can do it with you. It's a little bit complicated, and I wanted to really highlight the in between the red boxes. We're going to skip that for now. But if you really want to do it, we can catch up private because it's a little complicated, but I want to skip to the next red box. Tanya kavateh derab ta'chista. It's in the line that says ta'ama. Tanya kavateh derab chista. Says the Gemara, we have a proof to Rab Chista. Now we're going to help Rab Chista. Haberim she'ayu mesubin l'shtot yain. Bunch of guys who are going to drink, and they uprooted their legs, their feet, they don't have to make a new beracha. And there's no old man here. The yain part, great question. They all talk about the yain part. Some people say lav dafka yain. Good question. Okay, so the shakla v'tarya, which means
these guys came back to the same meal.
Yeah, they came to the same, but they didn't leave anyone behind. There's nothing about leaving people behind.
And who says that? This
is another beraita.
That's another
beraita. So now, just so you guys understand the shakla v'tarya. Shakla v'tarya means the give and the take of the Gemara. Rab Chista, Rab Sheshet, argument. Rab Chista says, if you had bread, the bread goes with you. But yeah, you don't have to make a new blessing when you have bread. Go wherever you want. Eat more bread. Rab Sheshet says, no. Rab Sheshet says, if you had bread, you still have to make a new blessing. If you left the old man behind, someone's holding the table, we'll let you go. Otherwise, you got to make a new blessing. We had a question on Chista. What do you do with we have an old man thing? And Chista says, nah, that's the Yehuda's explaining. The Yehuda's not explaining, he's arguing. And I don't hold like a Yehuda. And then we had a little bit of proof to him towards the end. Who would you say halakha should be like, Reb Chista or Reb Sheshet? Just take a guess. Because he had a good answer, and he's followed up with Taneka Batir. It's a good shot. Would anybody hold like Reb Sheshet?
I would say Chista also.
And Chista.
Because of the last part that we just read. It's pretty powerful.
Let's see what the poskim say. Let's turn the page. Let's start with the Rambam. Haberim shehayu yoshevim le'echol. I love, one of my favorite things in this shiur is when I show you that the Rambam using the words of the Gemara. I always say this like a broken record. If you were to open this Rambam, Haberim, oh, he's talking about friends. No, it's the Gemara said Haberim. So I'm also saying Haberim. Haberim shehayu yoshevim le'echol ve'atzu l'kat hatan or l'kat kala. They went out for a wedding, just like the Gemara said. The second beraita said, or they went to shul, or to the Beit Midrash. If you left the old man behind, whoa, who's in the old man business? Reb Chista or Reb Sheshet? Reb Sheshet in the old man business, not Reb Chista. Just go eat. And then we come back, Rambam says, we hold like the old man thing. Like Rab Sheshet, not like Rab Chista.
It's a very weird scenario.
It's just it's not dafka.
It's not the scenario, it's the concept.
Yeah, it's a good example of what might happen. Why would you not go to the wedding? You know what I mean?
First of all, you're not going to eat before you go to the wedding. You're going to wait to the wedding to go to eat.
If you left someone,
you're not going to oh wow, there's a wedding. Let me go to the wedding and then come back.
So I think what Yas is touching on is it is kind of a weird thing. I'm going to try my best. Hopefully, if we have enough time this time or next week, to open up. Does the gemara mean literally a wedding, a shul, or a bet midrash? What about something else? I want to go shake lulav. What about if I just want to go say hi to my dad? I mean, how far do we take this? Is the gemara's examples literal? Are we boxed into these examples, or are there other things that we can do? So we're going to talk about that soon. Rambam holds like Rav Sheshet. So Itai, what would you say is one good reason Rambam can hold like Rav Sheshet? We just, based on the Bameh Devarim Amorim, I'll give you a hint. Bameh Devarim Amorim, if you don't hold like the Rashbam, and you hold that Bameh Devarim Amorim is explaining, Rav Sheshet wins. Of course.
So the Rambam does not.
Because you have a clear beraita like that says old man.
So the Rambam does not buy the argument Bameh Devarim Amorim.
If you hold that's a weak thing. If you hold that Rashbam said, Bameh Devarim Amorim is your new opinion. I don't know about that. Look at the words. Bameh Devarim Amorim. What are we talking about?
Why would the Rashbam say something unless it was very established? It's so technical and he's saying it with confidence. He's saying when he wants to explain, he uses the word. What's the word he uses?
Ematai.
And he says it with confidence.
But that's one option. There's another option which the Beit Yosef would bring. Why Rav Sheshet would win this argument. So if you look at the Kesef Mishneh, which is written by Rav Yosef Cairo, on this Rambam, he's going to basically quote the entire Gemara. So I'm going to read it quick. It's the Gemara we just read. Yativ Rav Chisda v'kama mishmei nafshei hada ama shinu mikol no tzarich lebalech lo amna ela dum tzarich melchada harhem mikoman about devarim zlim melchada harhem mikoman es lebalech my ta'ama the kib'a kama hada. This is the Gemara we read. Rav Sheshet Amar, Rav Sheshet argues hadze v'hadze tzarich lebalech. Doesn't matter what you eat, you have to make it lebalech. Metive, we asked the question in the Gemara. Maran Shulchan Aruch gives you the whole background. Metive habirim or for kala. When they come back, about if they go out, they need beracha. If they come back, they do need a beracha. That was what the Gemara said. And Abraham Hamar Yitzhak answered, Man tana akidot. Who holds this whole uprooting thing? Rabbi Yehuda. It's Rabbi Yehuda. Detanya. We had a second beraita. Havirim shayu musavim nekron etc. etc. And we answered Amar Yehuda. Bameh Devarim Amorim Bizman etc. 3 lines. He summed up the entire Gemara we just read. Now, in the first beraita, it says Bameh Devarim Amorim, and it's not Rabbi Yehuda. In the first beraita, the Chatav Harif says the great Rabbi Yosef Cairo. The Chatav Harif, Rabbi Fassi writes, the Ka'amri Ravata, we are saying over here, the halacha follows Rav Sheshet, which means we hold by this old man thing. If you don't have the old man sitting behind and you leave, you must make a new beracha when you come back.
Do you think that in looking at the Rambam, and he says, it's almost suggesting to you, if you're leaving an old man and a sick person and you're going, come back.
I love it.
Come back, because it's like suggesting that you should come back.
I love it.
And like planting that in your mind, And
how could you leave the old man there? Right? You're at the wedding.
Old man and a sick person that can't go to the wedding with you.
But this comment works. It works on the Gemara, not only the Rambam. The Gemara says it's why I love it.
It's a good value.
It's beautiful, huh? From Hatan Kala, very good also. I like it. Moshe, what do you say? It's nice.
What's the relevance of them otherwise?
Well, right, I love it. Okay, and the Reef says, we have a halakha like Rav Sheshet because the proof we had a beraita like Rav Sheshet. The afagav the shani Rav Rahman, even though Rav Rahman gave us an answer and said, "La, it's a biuda, blah blah blah." Lo samchina nashinuya. I don't like this answer. We don't hold by the answer. It was a weak answer. That's what the Reef says. The Chatav alav harosh. The Rosh says, "V'lo yadana lama katav Reif lo samchina nashinuya Rav Rahman." Why would the Reif say we don't accept the answer of Rav Rahman? You can't get a better answer than this. We found a beraita where Rabbi Yehuda argues. It's his opinion. ואם כן, ברייתא קמייתא, דפריך מינא לרב חיסדא, יחידאה היא. Therefore, the beraita that was against Reb Chisda is a singular opinion that he doesn't hold like. The Amar Pasik Yahida. Why would you take that beraita? And so, therefore, basically, the Rif says Reb Sheshet wins. The Rosh says no, Reb Chisda wins. We had an answer. Sephardic and Ashkenaz. The Rif is Sephardic, Reb Sheshet. The Rosh is Ashkenaz, Reb Chisda. Va'ani Omer, says the Kesef Mishneh, Rabbi Yosef Cairo. I say the Kivan de Ashkeham Perek Zebored. Look at this proof. We have a halacha in Zebored and Sanhedrin. We're 4 lines from the bottom of page 46. If they go Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi and Rabbi Yohanan, there's an argument between Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi and Rabbi Yohanan. Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi, Kol makom she'amar Rabbi Yehuda b'ameh devim amonim, eno ela lefaresh devei hachamim. Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi holds b'ameh devim amonim is explaining. Rabbi Yohanan kama shu lahalok. Rabbi Yohanan says it's arguing. וכתבו התוספות בהר"ן, פרק בני העיר, רבי יהושע ורבי יוחנן, הלכה כרבי יהושע בן לוי. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi always makes Bameh Devarim is explaining, not like the Rashbam says.
So therefore, you're the Mishnah. We left to rule that.
So therefore,
Rabbi Chisda.
I don't know what you say about this. Maybe he would hold halachas not like Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi.
So he will hold that it's like Rambam, like Rabbi Chisda.
Back to Sheshet. And continues the Beit Yosef for the next page. The Chivan Shekin, since this is the fact, the Fum Kushta, according to the truth, Leka Pilukta, Ben Rabbi Yehuda, V'Tanakama. There is no argument. Rabbi Yehuda is explaining, and therefore everyone holds this old man concept. Because she allowed Hista, and it's a big question of Hista.
Yeah, we got back.
I mean, there's no answer.
We got back to Rabbi Chisda, so how do we explain it?
There's no answer. That's it. Rav Sheshet wins. Your only answer is if Rabbi Yehuda is arguing. The Rabbi Nachman is giving like a maybe answer. Maybe Rabbi Yehuda is arguing, but we don't like it. And Rabbi Chisda will hold like the first one, and Rabbi Sheshet like the second one, but that's not true. And therefore says the Beit Yosef, we don't hold like Rabbi Nachman's answers. Terrible answer. Sorry. Rabbi Sheshet wins.
That's halakha lema'aseh.
This is so. Not yet. This is an interesting one. So we have a machloket.
I think it's only journey. We're going to reverse it.
Kind of. So we have the Rif, Rabbi Fassi Sfaradi says halakha like Rabbi Sheshet, which means you only don't bless if you leave someone at the table. The Rosh holds like the Rabbi Chisda, which means you don't have to leave anyone at the table. Just go, come back, continue eating. Rambam holds like Rabbi Sheshet and the Rif. 2 Sfaradim so far that hold like Rabbi Sheshet. You need to leave someone behind. So Yossi's example, we're all here, we're eating. We all go for the Hachnasat Sefer Torah on the street. Everyone leaves. There's no one left behind. When we come back,
So no, before we leave, we have to do the Kabbalah.
you should do Birkat Hamazon. When we come back, new Hamotzi. Benching is a question. So Safot would say no benching, but the Pasha of the Gemara says yes benching, but Hamotzi everyone would say. So there's Rav Sheshet halakha. Okay, but Shaarey.
Safot will argue no benching because you benched before.
Even if you missed it, but even if you missed it, that's it. So Safot would say. Now let's see what the Tur says. Who is the Tur? Ashkenazi, the son of the Rosh. Bnei Habura shehayu mesuvim v'yetzi'u mimisibatan, the Bet HaKnesset or the Bet HaMidrash. He chooses the second one. The Rambam chose the bride and the groom. The Rosh, the Tur chooses the shul or the school or the Bet Midrash.
But it's interesting that they all name a destination. They don't say they got up.
Very good. There's going to be a reason for this.
Exactly. And all those destinations seems to be for great mitzvahs.
Very good. Very good. That's what Yossi was saying. So the question is, can I go for July 4th fireworks and leave an old man behind? Or do I not have permission to do that? Because the Gemara's, all these examples are religious examples.
No, so I think the Gemara tells you, when you have such a great mitzvah, you have a ter to leave an old man, don't do beracha, come back. But when you don't have, don't leave the table.
Let's see.
Finish.
Very good. Let's see. Let's see. Im hesebu al devarim she'en te'unim beracha le'acharehen b'mkoman, if they're just eating shehakol, cucumbers, chocolates, what does it already sound like? It depends what you're eating, says the Tur. If you're just eating she'akols, miyad keshiyeshinu mimkoman, as soon as you change your place, meheded laheded, from one room to another, if you want to keep eating, you have to make a new blessing. But don't make the post blessing, like Tosafot says. Don't make the post blessing. If you change your place, it's like you forgot about the meal. And if you make hesech hadat, you forget about your food. You have to make a new blessing. Okay. Abal, I skipped a line. Let's skip that. If they were having bread and they left, according to Rashbam, that includes all the 7 foods of Israel. According to Safot, only Dagan, only Mezonot. But Rabbi Shmuel Bar Meir, which is Rashbam. They don't have to make a beracha because we hold like Chista. If you're eating Mezonot, or according to Rashbam, the 7 fruits, or bread, you don't make a new blessing.
That's only the Rashbam works like this.
Rashbam and Rashi. The Avi Adoni Harosh Zal, my father the Rosh says, Hiskim Adat Rashbam. He agrees with the Rashbam. If it's a bread or something, you have to make a beracha in its place. Katav Keri, he holds like the Ri, which is the Tosafot, Dafka Pat Umine Dagan, which is bread. Literally, so basically, the Tur says halacha is like his father, the Rosh, which is like Rab Hisda. It's a Ashkenaz Sephardi machloket right down the line so far. So they would say if it's Shaarey Tzedek and they're eating, and then they go to the Hatan Sefer Torah and no one's left behind, and they come back, just keep on eating, as long as it's bread or mizonot. Beit Yosef on this Tur says the Chatav Harif. If you look at the Rif, he says I'm sorry, the Tur. The Rif says we had a Beraita that holds exactly like him. He gave an answer. I don't care. We don't like his answer. The Rosh says, nah, stop it. It depends what you eat. If you look at what I wrote on Rambam, I argued on the Rosh, and I said, so we have
But Yosef is also Yosef.
Yeah, he said, go look what I wrote.
But he didn't write it because with the Kesef Mishnah that we wrote.
That's what Yosef Cairo. He says, yeah, he does. He says, no, he sticks up for the Rav Sheshet.
Correct. And that's also the Rambam. He's
exactly.
not cholek on the Rambam.
No, it's cholek on the Rosh. On the Rosh, he's saying.
Oh, ובביאורי לרמב"ם cholek on the Rosh.
This whole concept really is like Hesech Hadat. Hesech Hadat means you forgot about the meal. The Ben Ish Chai talk about it.
It would be like a 5. You know how the rocket about the Memuna?
No.
Go from house to house.
Ah, yeah.
They have Mufleta. Mufleta is Motzim.
They jump around?
Right.
And what do they do?
From house to house, and they get a Motzim.
Do they make Kat Mazon? I doubt it.
No, it's mezonot.
They make Beracha Harona?
By the time they finish drinking,
I don't think so. Moroccans we know are like 99% Ashkenaz.
No, but I mean, you go to a place. Do you need to make a motel? No, I don't think they make a motel.
So this.
Okay, so
Yossi, let's do this. According to the Rambam and the Rif and Maran Shulchan Aruch,
they don't have to make a new motel every time.
only if you left someone behind.
There's people behind. There's always people behind.
But it's not a plate.
Yeah, but you're not going back there. But you're not going back there. You're moving on. According to the Chisda, you're okay. According to the Rosh, Ashkenazi, according to the Tur, Ashkenazi, you're okay. According to the Sfaradim, you have a big problem.
But you have to plan on going back.
Oh, if you're planning, that's different.
You don't plan. You're not going back.
So hold on.
But are they talking about eating in shul and going home? And
Wait 1 second. Wait 1 second. This flata,
Mufleta.
they're planning on jumping around?
Yes.
That's a different story. Planning is different. We're talking now, you didn't have any plans. That's why it says, yeah, all of a sudden there's a Hatan and a Kala on the street. You didn't plan on it. So hold on. That's what they do. So now we see that. Ready, guys? Should we finish the whole thing tonight? Or should we wait and do it next week? All right. So now we see the Maran Shulchan Aruch in the Bet Yosef. He sticks up for the Rambam, and he says Halacha Zak Rav Sheshet. So what do you think he writes in his own book, Shulchan Aruch? Let's see. You're afraid to answer, but turn to page 48. This is his own book, Shulchan Aruch. Haberim she'ayu yoshevim le'echol. Haberim, guys, the word haberim, isn't it delicious? Haberim, they're sitting to eat. Which one does he choose? Hatan Kala or the shul? Yes. By the way, all the Sephardim chose the wedding, and all the Ashkenazim chose the shul. V'yatzu lekat hatan or lekat kala. Imi nichusham miksatan. Here we go with the old man. If you left someone behind,
Consistent.
Hozin u'koman, you're going to sedatan. V'yanzer nechin lebarech. V'imi lo nichusham adam. If you didn't leave anyone behind, kishihem yotziin nechin lebechad mafreya. Got to make a beracha. V'chen im hayu mesubin l'shtot or le'echol perot. And what about fruit? And what about chocolate? According to Rosh Hashanah, there's no difference. It's all the same.
He's talking about at the wedding.
He's talking about no. You're not at a wedding. You're in your house.
No. You had a meal.
And then there was a wedding procession down the street.
You're going to the wedding.
Yeah.
You're talking about eating at the wedding.
No, either eating there or coming back. Either one. Either one. Do you take your meal with you? And so he says,
to make a moti now at
according to the Pista, you don't have to make a moti at the wedding. I already made a moti. Right? But he's saying no. If you left someone behind and when you want to come back here, he's holding the table for you. What if you're eating fruit? Rav Sheshet doesn't differentiate foods. Doesn't matter.
He said everything you left, you have to come. Finished.
You changed your place, you lost your meal. You have to eat, you have to make a beracha on what you already ate. Gotta make a motzi all over again. We hold like Rav Sheshet. Now, on the Shulchan Aruch, we have the Rama, Rav Moshe Isserles, who is Ashkenazi. What do you think he's going to say? Haga.
But I have a question.
Yeah.
Because Yossi just said something. When you go to a wedding, we keep saying they saw Chatan Kala, Chatan Kala. So I figured they left, they came back, continued the meal. They left the man, they didn't leave the man. What even if they left somewhere else, had the meal over there? You know, Chatan Kala, they went to the Chatan Kala. They said, come on, guys, you must eat with us. It's Chatan Kala. They obviously have to say bracha over there according to
the Pista, they're good.
No, according to
Sheshet, it sounds like they should.
But they left the men behind. Now they're coming back.
Right.
It's all new seudah because they left the seudah over there.
Right. He's holding the table for them. He's holding.
So they left the table. They make a bracha over there. They make a bracha achona over there. They come over here and they say, here we don't have to do anything because we left the man behind.
Yeah, that's very strange.
But preferably, you should do Birkat Hamazon first
Before you leave.
in this whole situation. Yes.
Preferably. But if you left an old man or a sick person, you said, you're just over there, you do the whole thing.
He's holding it.
It's unbelievable.
But it gives you very little guidance, this whole thing. Because it's just
That's
weird.
why they're all arguing.
Because it's a very strange scenario.
The question is, do you lose your meal the second you get up? That's the question.
In this scenario, you only
in general,
lose it.
when you get up from
You
the
don't
table,
lose it if you left an old man and he went to jump to a wedding. Okay, what happens? Forget that. There's no old man. There's no wedding.
you just left.
I came to shul. I made Birkat Hamazon. I made the moti. I didn't do Birkat Hamazon. I went home, and then I have bread again. That's a much more light scenario.
Yeah. So let's see. We have to see. So that's the question. The Pista would say the question is according to Rav Sheshet. What do you do? And is the halakha of Rav Sheshet? So far, every Sephardi holds like Rav Sheshet.
Which means at home
You have to
Which means
you have to.
you have to leave. You have to. Let's see what the Rama says. The Rama says, Haga, v'yesh chokim b'chol shekatuv b'siman zeh. Some people argue on this entire siman. So the Rama.
Forget the whole thing.
The whole thing. Rak sovrin sheshinu makom eno ela kehezek hadat. Itai. They hold it hezek hadat, which basically has the rules of if you forgot about your food. But again, im shine mikomo lemakom acher, if you change your place, don't make a new blessing. Don't make a blessing on the past, which is Tosafot. Don't actually make Birkat Hamazon, Tosafot says. And also, they're only talking about when you leave anyone behind. And if you're eating chocolates, we're talking about. But if you're eating bread, if you're eating bread, if you're eating something that holds you down, like Reb Chisda says, because we hold like Reb Chisda, says the Rama. If you left your meal and you went to another house, or someone calls you away from your meal to talk, to a new place, don't make a new blessing. Everyone holds bread needs a beracha in its place. Why would you not hold like Reb Chisda? Reb Chisda says bread holds you down. You don't need an old man to hold the table. Your table is holding it for you. Good? So he argues the Rama, Ramesh Isilis.
We know that they hold like
in our countries, in Europe, we hold like this. However, preferably, don't get up. Maybe you're going to forget. So do the Birkat Hamazon. New, the tzorich mitzvah, if you're getting up for a mitzvah, Overet, bing, 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 bing. That's the magic word. The tzorich mitzvah overet. He's the first one to say it. Whoever said that word?
Yes.
Mitzvah overet. It's a mitzvah that you're going to lose.
Yes. The percentage.
Mitzvah overet.
They're even out. They're not.
You're going to lose the mitzvah. Kegon shiagia zema tefillah. You have to pray now. If I don't get up and pray now, I'm going to lose Shema. Mutar, get up and go do it. Mashma from the Rama. What if it's not a mitzvah overet? I can learn my gemara now. I can join the next daf yomi. Can I get up? Rama would say no. You can't get up. You have
he's not ruling though. He says don't do it. He says it's a bad habit. He doesn't forbid.
You have to say the chetahilai. You should say Birkat Hamazon first, unless it's a mitzvah overet. Get up without Birkat Hamazon. But what if it's not a mitzvah overet? I want to go join the shiur.
No, but my point is, but he also holds that if you got up, without, but the avad, you're okay, he gives you, but the avad, he says no.
That's the question. Only mitzvah overet.
Yeah.
Other people didn't say that. And the second pshat that says lebet midrash. What's mitzvah overet? The second pirata on the other page. What's mitzvah overet?
They're learning now a daf. You may lose them. You may lose your kavuta. You may lose.
It's the only shiur in town. Okay, maybe.
Midrash, but midrash.
We have to see what the halacha is. Okay. What's next on the agenda? Kafa Haim. Sfaradi. Iraqi. They went out to go greet a hatan or hakala. Lav dafka doesn't mean only a wedding. Even if they went for a voluntary thing, fireworks, July 4th. And the Shira Knesset Gedolah. Even the Rambam writes this in his Teshuvah Perador. You can even get up for the B'nei Reshut. Very big chidush from the Kaf HaChaim. If you left the old man behind, who can I leave behind? Here comes a real old-timer question. Can I leave my wife behind? Can a woman hold the table? Even if they didn't eat with you, you left someone behind. Even a woman can hold the table for you. Even Ma'arak Perek Daled. Very.
Let me call one.
Next, Kaf HaChaim. When you leave, you have to make a Birkat Hamazon. What if you didn't make Birkat Hamazon and I left anyway? So you gotta do when you come back. Ken katab Bet Yosef b'dat Rambam shepasak Rab Sheshet. We hold like Rab Sheshet. And chen pasak b'Shulchan Aruch. Abal Tosafot b'Pesachim. Tosafot that I read you in Pesachim. Kishehen, which starts with the word Kishehen. V'harosh sham, and the Rosh writes, Eno ela lechetechila v'etzat tova kamashmalam. It's only a good idea to say Birkat Hamazon first. Shema yisheheh kol kach. Sheyira'av. You're going to be hungry when you come back. Mahamat seudah. Yira'ev. V'lo ya'aleh lo Birkat Hamazon. Amar she'achan. You're going to lose the blessing midoraita. Abal im yetzeu v'lo berechu. If you didn't listen and you left without Birkat Hamazon, keshechozrin en lebarech ki im hamotzi lebat. Only make hamotzi when you come back. Mahloket between Rambam and the Tosafot. Tosafot finishes over there. The en halacha ke'otana beraitot. The halacha does not follow the beraitot. Ela afil beracha l'katechila lo tzarich. You don't even need the beracha l'katechila. The kaim l'katechista like they hold l'katechista, which we don't hold. The amar l'kibui kama hadat. Which I'm not going to say we. Which Shulchan Aruch and Rambam and the Rif.
But it seems like they may have had an old custom of wedding marching through the street.
In Israel, they do this, right? At a bar mitzvah, randomly there's a bar mitzvah walking through the. That's why I said Tebekes. They have,
like in the Kotel, they're walking through the Kotel. That's become a thing. But
must have been.
But I'm just saying, in the old days, maybe it was a thing that they. The only thing I can think of that's similar. I was once at a wedding in New Orleans, and they had a whole band that they would.
What do they call it? Second.
They would go down with a band and the whole New Orleans.
What do they call it? Second what? Second. Come on, help me out. I need Google this. New Orleans second. What's the next word that comes up? New Orleans second.
And they have a whole marching thing.
Second line.
Second line.
Second line. That's what they call it. Second line is like Yossi's saying. They just all dance and they march.
At every wedding, that's the tradition.
It's like something you have to see.
Then have
second line. Yeah.
Not Jewish.
No, not Jewish.
This one was Jewish, kind of.
Okay, guys, what are we up to here?
So one second, when he says they shouldn't do bracha chona, when they come back, it means they shouldn't do it before they continue the meal. It doesn't mean they shouldn't do it all together.
No, he also has support. When you come back, just make a motzi. Don't make Birkat Hamazon when you come back.
Even at the end of the meal, you made a motzi, you finish eating.
No, you didn't finish eating. You're saying you want to eat again. That's what Safar says. If I want to eat again after I come back from the wedding, I want to eat again. Just make hamotzi. Don't make Birkat Hamazon and then hamotzi. That's what Safar said.
If you did Birkat Hamazon over there, but if you didn't, you have to.
No, Safar says if you didn't, don't do Birkat Hamazon. Just hamotzi. Safar said.
Don't do it all.
No. You should do it when you leave, but if you didn't do it, don't do it when you come back.
So you just had the full meal, whether with interruption
you're
or
eating again. You're eating again, and the Birkat Hamazon will be for everything.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you're eating, and then you go. So it means don't come back and say, "Wait, I owe Birkat Hamazon. I'll do Birkat Hamazon now. I'll do Hamotzi now. I'll do Birkat Hamazon." He says, "Do Hamotzi and then do the Birkat Hamazon." Yes. They cover the entire cycle.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
But isn't it all every covenant?
We are talking now when you didn't have any plans to leave the table. That's what Benish High. Look, 1 second, right here. Look at the Benish High. Benish High says, "Wow, what do you guys want to do? You want to wait till next week?"
I think so.
Okay, so next week we have to do the Benish High and the Chal Vadia. That's what we have to find out. As of now, let's just sum up. We have the Chisda. So sorry.
That's too much to be relying on.
How much you want to bet? Baruch Adonai Le'olam, amen ve'amen. We have minyan.
כן. אבי חניה, כאשר אומר, הקדוש ברוך הוא עושה כל ישראל, לפיכך